So in this episode, we're going to talk about some of our favorite classic rock influences of what's going on with Aerosmith and Van Halen.
Yeah, especially Sammy Hagar and Wolfie. I mean, people, I noticed even when I used to do things talk about music a little bit, people like it. So you're a Sammy Hagar fan. I'm a Sammy Hagar fan.
Yeah.
And
no offense to David Lee Roth.
Yeah, yeah.
But the thing is, I grew out of David Lee Roth. Like, Sammy Hagar's lyrics weren't as... David Lee Roth's lyrics are very much like, if you're a teenage boy, he very much appeals to you, and he never seemed to grow up.
To this day, matter of fact, I saw some, not that I want to talk about David Lee Roth, but I saw some recent, he was in Vegas. I actually, he's running around with his band, and he keeps having a hard time. He's got a lot of backup singers.
Yeah.
Because they pretty much do all the singing for him.
His voice is shot.
Yeah, and he said it was too, but somehow he's still out running around. He gets an audience.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know too much about his personality, but so he was in Vegas, and he had his assistant with him. He's there for a conference or something, and he's walking down. He's in the hotel, and he's walking down the hallway, and he hears some Van Halen music playing in one of the rooms. So he's like, "Hey, watch this." He knocks on the door. Knock, 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 knock. Now, I don't know. They're playing some classic Van Halen. And this guy comes to the door, a younger guy. I think he's got his shirt off. And David Lee Roth standing at the door, and the guy looks at him. and David Lee Roth goes, "Hey, I see you're playing some Van Halen." And the guy looks at him. And he at first, he didn't realize, it's David Lee Roth. And, David Lee Roth is building all this up to his assistant, like, "Yeah, watch this. This is going to be really good." And then he talks to the guy. You can still hear all the music jamming. They're drinking. And he's standing at the door, got his shirt off. And David Roth's going, "So, I just thought I would, say hi since I was walking down the hall." And it didn't go off quite the way he thought. And then the guy closes the door. And David Lee Roth, they're filming with their phones. He keeps walking to the elevator. He goes, "I see, that was good, this, da. And I was, as a viewer, I was like, "Yeah, I don't know." And then suddenly, the guy with no shirt figured it out. He comes flying down the hall, goes over to the elevator. "David Lee Roth, da. So the ending was good, but it's younger guys. They're not necessarily going to know what David Lee Roth looks like in his street clothes. Yeah, and he's going around wearing those stockings for tattoos. I don't know if you...
Are they real? I can't tell if that's a shirt or not.
No, they're just sleeves you put on your arms. They're like, wearing pantyhose on your arms with tattoos on them.
I couldn't figure it out whether he had full-on sleeves on both arms like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But anyway, Sammy Hagar with... who's the bass player?
Michael Anthony.
Michael Anthony. Do they have a name for that band?
It's under... They call it... Depends on their versions. There's The Circle.
Okay.
The main name, but that's with Joe Satriani and I can't remember. I really don't know, because he has Joe Satriani that he used in a super band they had the drummer from Red Hot Chili Peppers, Chad Smith.
That one song it's awesome.
They did a supergroup then with Joe Satriani, Chad Smith, and those two, and that had one name. And then they had another thing called The Circle with a different guitar player, and they had Jason Bonham, son of Led Zeppelin's drummer, on drums.
I saw that too. Now, that's the recent one that I've seen where that song kicks ass.
There's a pretty good song they did as an homage.
It's a nice
Eddie
video, too. Yeah, for an homage for Eddie.
Supposedly, Sammy had a dream.
Yeah. Yes.
That Eddie was talking to him, and they were playing. And this is what he wrote.
Well, isn't Joe Satriani on guitar on that one? And I think Bonham is on the drums.
Bonham was on drums for that.
And the video is great. I mean, they just did it like in the little studio, jib arm in, jib arm out. But I mean, these guys are rocking. I mean, it was pretty polished.
It is hard to believe Sammy is in his 70s.
Yeah, his voice is just top as it was.
His voice is good, but he looks good.
Yeah.
looks in shape. He's not jumping around as much.
No.
But he's not exactly sitting still either.
No.
Like, they idolize Mick Jagger, who's still kicking it like that, too.
Yeah, yeah. Jagger's a little
80.
older. Yeah.
I think he's 80 by now.
So the news I caught today, another supergroup with Sammy Hagar. Have you caught this at all?
No.
So, Tommy Lee, Chad Kroeger, he's from Nickelback, lead singer. He's got a great voice. So I'm sitting there going, well, what's the connection with Hagar?
He interviewed all of them on his streaming show that he did.
Well, when they would have to do some kind of duet or something because, and then Charlie Benante, he's from like Pantera. That's a crazy connection there. So nobody knows. This is like the newest thing that they did get together on a whim and made a song.
Okay.
And that's it. Nobody, people are theorizing there's another supergroup, but I think it's just they got together. Same way with Aerosmith and...
I saw that recently. Where Aerosmith and who was the other person they were with?
Another song. And there's a music video out. What's crazy is it's actually... I really like the song. They're in a studio. They had a camera guy in there. And it's almost like they did it all in one day. They sit there and were writing, and what's his name was playing riffs.
Joe.
I didn't even know it was Joe because when he's not made up.
I'm shocked because he and Joe Perry and Aerosmith had split. Yeah, Steven split up.
Yeah, I
see them together again is just heartwarming.
It is heartwarming. Joe Perry though. He is super, super thin. I mean, he almost looks like Mick Jagger now. The aging. But man, he's got so many guitars, but he looks so cool. They got that look that they have regardless. It's like the Rolling Stones. They got their look even as they age. It's just phenomenal. But Steven's voice, he said he really damaged his throat.
Oh yeah, but he's not supposed to really be singing anymore.
But that new song that they just did, I don't know what they're going to do with it. It's actually good.
Steven Tyler is extremely limited on how much he can sing right now without permanently losing his voice.
Yeah, well, he seems like he was belting it out with Young Thud. And what's crazy is the two are together the whole time, and Young Thud is he's using his mouth. He's doing a Steven Tyler kind of like imitation. But it's almost like it's fine by me because it's like passing the baton on. I mean, he's got Ozzy going for himself, that, and then Steven Tyler. I don't know. I mean, it's nice to see some music that still has the same type of characteristics being made today that might carry it on maybe even further after those guys can't even walk anymore.
See, the weird thing...
Which what happened to Ozzy.
See, for me at my age, the strange thing is when I grew up in the 80s, and to me, it's like the music from the 40s was the Glenn Miller Orchestra.
40s? Oof.
So that was 40 years earlier, but today, 40 years earlier, is the 80s.
Oh, it is?
In today.
Oh, God, don't tell me that.
40 years ago now is 1985.
Oh, I don't like that.
And so when I think about that, but it's like, but it doesn't feel the same. Like, again, nobody in the 80s was hanging out. No pop stars were hanging out with the Glenn Miller Orchestra. You know what I mean? Like, where young artists today would hang out and do concerts with like Taylor Swift doing duets with Def Leppard in concert. You know what I mean? It's
at least Miley Cyrus does.
Yeah, Miley Cyrus will get together with these 80s bands and do stuff.
Yeah. Guns N' Roses.
It's like... It doesn't feel like the same. That 40-year difference for us is not the same as it was then.
No.
But going back to Van Halen about something interesting, which was, it's like, I was such an enormous fan of Van Halen that, their history is so interesting just because there was so many weirdness and fights and whatnot. And the thing that got me was, like, I remember in 2007 when they got back together with David Lee Roth, Van Halen fired Michael Anthony, the bass player, and replaced him with 17-year-old Wolfgang Van Halen, Eddie's son.
Yeah, right.
And I remember being livid about that because it's like, what the hell did Michael Anthony do wrong? Nothing.
Yeah. Well, I always wondered that myself. I was like, well, why did they kick him out?
Well, the rumor that I've heard was when Eddie and Alex's mom died, Michael Anthony either didn't come to the funeral or didn't, do something related to that, and they were so mad at him that it was game over. But prior to that, in 2004, he was kind of already out of the band because when they did 3 new songs with Sammy Hagar for the Greatest Hits album, Eddie had already played bass on the tracks. So Mike Anthony didn't get a songwriting credit and didn't even get to play on those 3 songs. And all 3 of those songs suck. So it's like, what was the point? And then I held it against Wolfgang Van Halen for some reason because I'm like, well, why does he get to be in the band and stuff? And I just held it against him. And then after Edward passed away, his first 2 things happened. He did an interview with Howard Stern. Wolfgang Van Halen did.
Yeah, I saw it.
And he was just distraught. And I was like, I felt so bad for this kid who didn't just lose his father. His father was more like his best friend.
Yeah. And
And
you kind
so-
of find that out that yes, he was.
And then he did his first solo album-ish. He called it Mammoth WVH. The name Mammoth was already taken by someone else, but that was the original name of Van Halen
Okay.
in the 70s. That was the original name of the band was Mammoth. And so as an homage to his father and those original roots, he called it Mammoth, but they had the same problem Van Halen had in the 70s, which is another band already had the name, so he called it Mammoth WVH, which he's now actually overtaken that and has the full name Mammoth now.
Oh, he does?
The old band gave him the name.
Okay.
So he doesn't have to say WVH anymore. But the thing is, on these albums, it's all him.
Mm-hmm.
He plays every instrument and sings all the parts.
Yeah, that's what I realized later, that he can play drums. He obviously can play guitar.
Bass and keyboards.
They stuck him on bass because that was probably the only place where they could put him in the band. So out goes Michael Anthony because certainly not going to let him play lead guitar.
But that's the weird thing is, I think he could have been the only person. No matter how you cut it, Edward Van Halen had an ego.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell because in 1986, when Sammy Hagar joined the band, they were both playing guitar, and Sammy would play Eddie's part when Eddie was playing keyboard.
Yes.
After the 1988 or 89 tour,
Yeah, no more touch.
Sammy's not allowed to play guitar.
Yeah. And, I forgot that Sammy could crank.
He could play very well. He was not Edward Van Halen, but he could play very well.
But that was his whole rock persona.
Yeah.
Was that
the
guitar.
Red Rocker.
Yeah.
And he could play guitar.
Yeah,
and so it was just a little
55.
weird. But Eddie's ego about that got too extreme.
Yeah.
About, I don't want anybody else playing guitar but me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like, but when his son was like 13, when he was playing a solo, his son would come out and duet with him on Eddie's big solo sometimes.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, because it used to be part of his solo was this really nice ballad thing at the beginning. He later released it in 1991 on the For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge album. It was called 316, which is May 16th, his son's birthday. Wolfgang's birthday.
Wow.
So he named the song after his son, so when he's playing it in concert, when his son comes out, would come out and duet it with him. And he loved, like, there's one video that just stands out of when he's laying there, and his son would come out, and he was so proud of him, like, he would kiss him on the head. And I thought, it's like, he loved his son so much. So when his son put out his first single from his first solo album, it was entirely comprised of home videos with his dad.
Oh, wow.
And I melted when I was like, this kid is not only talented, it's like,
yeah.
And then in the Howard Stern interview, he said some very interesting things, which was 2 years prior to his passing, there was a rumor they were going to do at least either a tour or even just a big set of shows in Vegas with both Sammy Hagar and David Lee Roth.
Oh, no, I didn't pick up on that.
Oh, he talked about it in the extended version of the interview. He's like,
Okay.
yeah, I was originally going to do...
Oh, that would have never worked out.
Well, it would have, because here's what he's saying. He goes, I wanted to call Sammy and Michael Anthony myself. I talked to my dad. He said he would do it. I was going to make the calls. and our stupid ass manager called them before I did. And that's when the rumors started flying, and I didn't get the chance to do it. And it's like, it could have happened, but Eddie's health just plummeted.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I don't know why. Maybe you know, but I mean, David Lee Roth just rips on Wolfie like constantly. I
think that's
what's the reason?
Ego. I think David
Or has
Lee
he
Roth
just gone a little bit loopy?
I think David Lee Roth's gone. Because here's the thing: is Wolfgang is clearly like one of the sweetest, nicest
certainly
people.
Seems just like his mother. That's why
he is the perfect hybrid of his mother and father.
Yeah.
And I think the big thing about it is like he's clearly not a spoiled brat. Like he doesn't take for granted who he is and what he is. He openly acknowledges the nepotism and is like, listen, I am who I am. And he seems so normal. And I think that's his mother more than anybody.
It's got to be, yeah. He seems very normal. I mean, there's obviously two sides to
every story.
Yeah.
But I think David Lee Roth has shown that he's a bit wacko. I mean, there was the thing I remember, two things I wanted to say about the Van Halen stuff, which is there was a VH1 full 2-hour documentary about the Sam and Dave tour. And I cannot find this on YouTube. Somebody has to have a VHS and has never uploaded it. Where it was about the squabbling and fighting of that whole tour, where David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar did a whole tour together, and they alternated who was the headliner every other show. So David Lee Roth would open for Sammy. The next night was...
This is real or just a fake?
Real. This happened
no.
in the early 2000s. It's the Sam and Dave tour. It was huge.
This is before, after Sammy was part of Van Halen?
Yeah. This is after before Van Halen 3 came out with Gary Cherone singing.
Oh, God, don't even bring up Gary Cherone. I forgot all
Poor
about
guy.
that, too.
I love Sammy had the greatest statement about that. He goes, poor guy feels like he's in a cover band.
Yeah.
He's got to do David Lee Roth songs, Sammy Hagar songs, and his own songs.
I forgot all about that.
So it's got to feel like they're in a cover band. He's got to feel like he's in a cover band.
Yeah.
And I mean, and they did a whole album with Gary Cherone that never got released.
Okay.
They recorded demos, full-on demos with vocals for an entire album that's never seen the light of day. But the funny thing is there's this VH1 documentary about the Sam and Dave tour and how horrible it went. I could find one version of it, but it's the nicer version. This was one where they showed Sammy knocking on the tour bus door to try to talk to Dave about, why don't we come out and do a song together tonight at the end? Let's do like You Really Got Me, and let's do it together. And Dave wouldn't even answer the door.
Oh, I believe that 100%.
And Dave is like doing the separate interviews. He's like, I'm the life of the party, and he's a lame tequila guy.
Yeah,
he's just saying dumb stuff, and it's just like,
yeah, which is what he always did.
Which is what he always did, but it's kind of like, here's Sammy making efforts to try to be nice to him.
Sammy might have been doing it knowing what the answer was going to be, just to
show the contrast.
Yeah, probably.
So the funny thing is so the other thing that happened was there's been all this stuff about there still is this feeling like there needs to be closure with Van Halen, with all the variations of the band. Like there needs to be closure of some kind.
So like what Ozzy did?
Yes, that's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And so what happened was there's rumor that Sammy puts on one persona, but behind closed doors has much bigger ego about this stuff.
I believe it because he's a super big time businessman. I mean, this guy's very successful beyond singing.
And so there was an idea of a tribute concert to Eddie Van Halen. And they wanted the bridge, and like, how do we do this?
Yeah.
And you had a couple things. Wolfgang was willing, but he couldn't get Sam or Dave to agree to anything. And then, of course, Alex was like, nope, I'm checked out. He almost did a show or even a tour with Alex Van Halen was putting something together with Joe Satriani and one or two other people to try to do either a show or something as a tribute to Van Halen. And it fell apart. And now Satriani is with Sammy Hagar.
Yeah.
And Alex has sold all of his drum kits. He has sold everything. He's out.
He's probably trying to make it so that it'd be very difficult for him to go back and try to do something.
He's made it now. He's drawn a line in the sand and says it's over. And think about it like this.
I mean, those guys were tight as brothers.
He and his brother.
They were tight.
They had been tight their entire lives. Yeah. They moved to the United States.
They made it together.
They came to
Pasadena. Which is hard as brothers.
Not only that, think about this. They moved to Pasadena from the Netherlands without speaking a word of English.
Yeah.
And most people don't realize they're both half Asian. Most people don't realize that. They're half Asian, spoke no English, and moved to Pasadena. It was very difficult. Life was difficult for both of them in the U.S. growing up. And so when they found success, they feel separate from the rest of the world still. Those brothers, were super tight. And so Alex, I mean, I'm just guessing. I haven't read his autobiography. When it hits paperback, I'll get it. But with Alex Van Halen, it's kind of like, I don't think he feels like half of him is gone at this point.
He would have to. I mean, I think that's kind of the same stories with maybe like the Beastie Boys or the Beatles.
You can't do it.
It's that group was the group, and being brothers, that's even more significant.
Yes.
That's a relationship that only people that are blood relatives can understand.
Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the whole reason I even knew, this is how I got introduced to Van Halen. My brother, who was 7 years older, got tasked one day when I would have been 10 years old. And my brother was tasked with, you got to take him and his buddies to the lake. So he has his Gran Torino. He's stuck babysitting us for the day, me and my 3 buddies. We're in the car, and he goes, I'm going to indoctrinate you boys with something. He pulls out this cassette. It's the red and white with a white line. It's the Diver Down album. He pops it in.
Diver Down, yeah.
And we hear that song, Little Guitars.
Yeah.
It's the first time I'd ever heard Van Halen in my life. And that was life-changing. So when I got my backstage passes in 1993, I had 2 11th row tickets, 2 backstage passes, and I'm like, I could have taken anybody. I could have taken a girl. I could have taken one of my buddies from school, or somebody from my band. I took my brother since he introduced me to Van Halen. I thought it was the only right thing to do.
Yeah.
Of all the people to take, I took him. He was grateful. My brother was a lot of things, most of them not good. But he was one of the only times he expressed extreme gratitude to me ever was taking him to meet Van Halen.
Well, see, and that's a memory you've got forever then. Besides the bad ones, you've got that great. That tops them all, probably.
Yep. And so I just remember, it's like, and in the photo, Eddie Van Halen has his arm around me, and Alex Van Halen has his arm around my brother.
Nice. Wow, that's a great. We gotta throw that in the podcast.
Oh yeah, I used that picture in the one little thing I did already. I'll put it in this one for sure.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that's. So the last thing I was to say about the Van Halen. So the closest thing was when the drummer Taylor Hawkins from Foo Fighters died, and they did his tribute concert. Wolfgang showed up and did 2 Van Halen songs with them, with members of the Foo Fighters and a few other people. And to him, he's like, that's the closest anyone's going to get to a Van Halen tribute show.
Isn't that something?
He's like, the internal battles are just too much. And he's like, I've moved on. The weird thing is, like, just like Prince, there's the vault.
Yeah.
5150 Studios has a ton.
Oh, do they ever?
Of recordings and tapes that are unfinished material. And the only person who has access to it is Wolfgang Van Halen.
Interesting. Well, we'll see what the future holds with all that.
Indeed.
There's still time for something to happen. They're all still active.
Yep.
Except for
Alex.